Hi, I'm Ilja from Gamechanger Audio, and this is the motor pedal, a one-of-a-kind electromechanical synthesizer pedal built around a physical, spinning, brushed DC electromotor and driven directly by your playing. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how it all works, how it sounds, and how it can turn your instrument into a living, breathing, mechanical sound generator. At the heart of the motor pedal is a single monophonic electromechanical motor oscillator, a real spinning electromotor controlled by a high-speed, high-precision pitch tracking algorithm. And there are 5 unique motor synthesis engines to choose from, each offering a unique sound, a whole range of adjustment knobs for tone sculpting, and an awesome spring-loaded gas pedal that you can use to either raise, drop, or lock the synthesis pitch. You can use it to control a vibrato effect, or you can use it as a volume swell pedal. The first sound engine, symbolized and represented by the letter M, is the motor mode, which gives you essentially the raw output from the spinning motor's coils. So here's how this works. The motor pedal uses a 3-pole brushed electromotor, and it's equipped with an electromagnetic inductive pickup, sort of like a tiny guitar pickup. And as the motor spins, each full revolution produces 3 signal spikes caused by one of the motor's coils passing by the magnetic pickup. And this results in a 3-to-1 signal-to-revolution ratio. So, for example, to create an A4 note, which is at 440 Hertz, the motor has to spin at roughly 147 revolutions per second to match that note. So here, the motor is spinning at 147 full spins every second. And if you play a note 1 octave higher, so here at 880 Hertz, that will instantly push the motor to up around 293 revolutions per second. So it gets real fast, real quick. So with the minimum recommended power supply, which is the standard 9-volt pedal power source, the motor oscillator stays snappy and responsive with enough juice to reach its maximum speed of 450 revolutions per second. That's equivalent to around 1350 Hertz, which comfortably gets you up to the E6 note, the pitch you would get on the 24th fret on the top string of a guitar. This is an E5 played on the 12th fret. And thanks to the motor's range, we can easily track all the way up to the 24th fret. But we can also go even higher than that. By turning the interval offset knob, I can shift the motor oscillator's pitch above the input signal by a 4th, a 5th, or even by a full octave. So now, when I play the E on the 12th fret here, the motor oscillator is outputting the E6, simulating the 24th fret. The way the motor pedal will handle those super high notes that go beyond the range is by using a real-time, high-resolution pitch shifting algorithm that kind of enhances and modifies the raw motor signal, thus extending its range without compromising the feel or responsiveness. As you'll hear in this example, the transition is extremely smooth and there's no extra latency added. As you've already heard, the M motor engine offers the raw sound of the motor oscillators doing their thing. A gritty, grainy, and powerful tone, which you can further adjust with the motor tone control or by adding some analog drive to the wet output. These two controls, along with the motor volume knob, they are analog controls and they apply to the motor output only. And they apply in the same way for all 5 of the engines. And this is the mod knob. So the mod knob offers an additional layer of adjustments, which is specifically tailored to each individual engine. So in this case, when it's turned all the way down, we're hearing the basic output of the motors. And as we start increasing the mod knob, we'll start hearing an additional kind of layer of grit and character that's being added to the output. And this is achieved by doubling the motor signal. When you reach and go beyond the 12 o'clock position on the mod knob, this is indicated by the X mark here. This is where the analog cross-modulation circuit kicks in. What this means is that the motor pedal's synth output is being kind of fused together with the instrument's dry signal using an analog signal multiplication circuit. So you can use the mod knob to further dial in a specific sweet spot, but essentially you're turning this monophonic synth engine into a cross-modulation powerhouse where every detune, every offset, and every signal combination produces a new flavor of interaction between the instrument and the synth engine. The second sound engine is called MxD. So it's indicated by the XD symbol here, and it uses an additional layer of sharp digital waveforms, which are then multiplied with the motor's output. The resulting sound is an extra gnarly augmented motor signal. And the mod knob lets you move between a whole range of these aggressive sounding tones. So now, as we hit the cross-mod range, again, we're going to be cross-modding the pedal's output with the instrument's dry output, thus sort of fusing the signals together. And also by offsetting the motor signal against the guitar's pitch, we're going to be getting a whole lot of new interesting kind of cross-modding combinations and flavors. The M-Wave is a fully digital sound generator that lets you play a variety of simple waveforms selectable with the mod knob. But what makes them sound natural and warm is the fact that they're fully pitch synced and phase locked to the motor oscillator. So this means that every bit of the motor's non-linear behavior is fully mimicked and transferred and can be heard in the final digital waveforms output. So I'm going to demo it now and scan through some of those waveforms. And I'm also going to use the vibrato and glide knob, which is a dual function knob, just to make sure that the motor moves around a little bit. Also, we're going to start with the clean signal taken completely out. So. As you can hear, this is the engine that allows for some of the most clean sounds on the pedal. But again, as soon as we push into this cross-mod territory, past the X sign on the mod knob, we're going to be back into this familiar growling sound. Engine number 4 is called COIL mode. And here, instead of using direct current to spin the motor coils around, we're going to be using alternating current to play the motor's coils as resonators. This is closely related to what is known as the singing coil effect, but in this case, we're not pushing it far enough to actually produce an acoustic resonance, but rather an electromagnetic field resonance, which is again picked up beautifully by the pickup. So as soon as I switch into coil mode, you'll see that the motor will stop. And because coil mode doesn't require the physical rotation of the motor, you could say that it has a virtually limitless range and that it's extremely quick and almost like instant responsivity. So I'm going to use the release knob to show you how it reacts with shortened decays. All the way down and blend the clean signal back in. Turning the mod knob introduces a real pulse width modulation effect produced inside of the engine itself. And of course, when we go into the cross-mod register, we're going to be getting a whole new category and range of sound, which is the COIL mode, cross-modded against the instrument's input. The fifth and final sound engine is the vocoder mode, which is using the motor oscillator as the vocoder's carrier signal, and the sound produced by your instrument acts as the modulator signal. Essentially, you can think of it as a multi-band filter which lets through only those frequencies of the motor oscillator that come from the instrument signal, from the modulator signal. So for example, here I've got a high treble guitar, and the motor oscillator is just doing its thing, tracking the instrument as well. If I now change the instrument's tone to something darker, you hear that the filter has shifted and we're hearing a different part of the motor synth's motor pedal's output. And now, turning up the mod knob, we'll start introducing some more movement within the filter banks, using a sort of combined pitch and envelope follower. And this will allow us to create sort of these vowel sounds. And another thing we can do is we can use the gas pedal in clutch mode to kind of lock the pitch in place. We'll get to the pedals, adjustments, and deeper functions in the next section, but essentially here we're going to stop the motor oscillator at a specific note that we choose. So this is how you get that classic vocoder effect, only in this case, this is a real motor vocoder. So now, let's finally talk about the gas pedal. Before we dive into the 5 individual modes and sound examples, I just want to clarify that the gas pedal is designed with a dual response zone system. This means that the first is the pedal's core range, which spans the pedal's basic mechanical path from the raised position all the way down to the pedal's base. And this is a range that you can feel very clearly under your foot, right? So from here to here. And then there's the so-called floret zone that activates only as you press harder at the very end, almost kind of like pushing past a resistance point into a second gear. So for example, here you will see that the green LED, the arrow LED, will change from green to orange as I go into the florid zone. The breakpoint between the core range and the florid zone is fully adjustable. Right now, I have it set up so that it's light enough for me to use by hand, even from a tabletop setup. But if you unplug the pedal and enter calibration mode, then you can set the threshold zone much higher using this same selector switch. So for example, if I set it for level 3, that's the middle, and then the level 5 is the one where you'll have to really stomp it to properly go into the florid zone. So now just let go, and now you're gonna have to probably like use your full weight to actually get it into that orange segment. So now let's explore all 5 of the gas pedal modes, and I'll show you different examples of how you can use them in your playing. In the accelerate mode, as you just saw, we're going to be using the gas pedal to raise the motor oscillator's pitch. By default, it climbs 1 octave across the core mechanical range, like this. But if we floor it, then the pitch of the oscillator is going to keep increasing up another octave. And you'll see this as the LED turns from green to orange. The second mode is the brake mode, and it's simply the reverse of the accelerate mode. Push the pedal and the motor's pitch will drop down a full octave, and then if you floor it, turning this green indicator orange, you will hear that the motor goes down 2 octaves below the pitch. Third mode is the clutch mode, and this one's wild. The clutch mode is designed to temporarily disconnect the motor oscillator from the pitch tracking engine. So the pitch stays right where you leave it when you press the pedal, even as you keep playing new notes. It's perfect for holding a tone down and playing against it, kind of like a drone, or creating weird suspended textures that you can release just at the right moment. And there's also a subtle detail that we've built in. When you're holding the pitch manually and then releasing the pedal slowly, you'll hear a slight warble as the motor drops back into pitch tracking. That's our clutch release zone, intentionally designed to mimic the feel of dropping an engine back into gear. Pressing the pedal fully, or flooring it, will turn this green clutch symbol into orange, and this will engage the locked mode, which will hold the current pitch until you disengage it again. A quick tap releases the lock and re-engages the pitch tracking. Tap and hold, and the pedal will latch onto whatever new note you're playing at that particular time. Mode number 4 is the drift mode. And the drift mode is designed to introduce subtle and unpredictable pitch fluctuations and movement. And as you floor it, the motor oscillator will start going super crazy with wide, erratic pitch swings that push into full-on, like chaotic, almost FM territories. And finally, number 5 is the volume mode, which lets you use the gas pedal as a volume control for the motor signal. In its default green mode, the pedal gives you a full range sweep from 0% to 100%. So this is perfect for traditional volume swells and fading the motor pedal in or out of the sound completely. So like this. But if you floor the pedal and switch this green volume sign into the orange mode, then the pedal's range also will shift to 50% to 100%. In this mode, the output never drops to silence, and there's always a partially reduced signal underneath, and this lets you use the pedal more like an accent tool, bringing in extra emphasis when needed, rather than controlling the entire volume envelope. To return it to the full range, to the green mode, just simply floor it again like I just did right now. So depending on what you need, you can either fade the motor in from silence like this, or ride a constant signal and just boost specific moments. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it's been fun and inspiring, and stay tuned for more videos to come. The motor pedal is out now, available everywhere, and I think every player who's into exciting new sound should go out and experience this awesome device. In the meantime, let us know in the comment section below what was your favorite sound and what would you like to see covered in future videos. Again, thanks for watching and see you later.